I have crippling panic attacks. I have panic attacks about asking for people for help because I will get fucking victimized. Brandon doesn't see what he's doing as victimizing me. He doesn't see him procrastinating and making excuses as victimizing me. Neither did Peaches. These people promised to help. But in fucking 4 goddamn years of abuse, they never once came forward with me to fucking tell those things to the cops. All of these people made empty fucking promises, and I'm a bad person because I'm abused over them. I didn't make Mandy Hughes lie. These people lied to me repeatedly. I didn't make these officers lie. Now you go back through those videos. You listen to those officers. You listen to these people who I recorded. Who's telling the truth? They can't both be telling the fucking truth. Without someone to act as my guardian, anything that you guys send me is just a temporary bandage. Until I get someone who is going to fight for my rights, because I can't. I'm not allowed. Anything you send me is a temporary bandage. And could potentially get me in a lot of trouble because the government wants to keep tabs on how much disabled make. If I make enough money to defend myself in court or to hire a lawyer, they take away my disability. If I own more than $2,000 worth of property, they take away my disability. $2,000. Fuck, your fucking car is probably worth more than that. Nobody was interested in the fucking truth. To this day, nobody cares enough to actually show up in fucking person and help. You say I chose this. I didn't choose for Brandon Ratner to be busy chasing pussy. I didn't choose for Brett Roloff to be fucking strung out on drugs. I didn't choose for Desiree to be strung out on drugs. I didn't choose for the Bollingers to be strung out on fucking drugs. I didn't choose for the cops to break the law. I didn't choose any of this. Fucking help me or kill me, god damn it. You pretend I'm not intelligent because I have fucking panic attacks over actual fucking abuse. Actual abuse, not some fucking fake shit manufactured by a goddamn meth head. Take a look at that. My predators got to speak and I didn't. They got to make police reports and I didn't. They got to harass me and threaten me and intimidate me and fucking assault me. And I wasn't even allowed to threaten to do those things back. You know what? I didn't want to do those things back. I just want them to stop happening to me. let me show you what I got going on here. I made this yesterday. Sure, it's not the coolest thing ever made, but there's a bunch of trash in the yard, and I figured I had to do something with it. So I put a little bit of tape on the end of there so that I wouldn't get any. I want to be able to have the orange flash hider on there still. It needs to be denoted as an airsoft, and it is an airsoft. So if I had painted the orange tip, it would have presented a safety issue. What the hell did I do to it? What the hell did I do to it? I attached a bunch of shit. Grass, there's some burlap that was out there. It's all moldy and nasty, but whatever. This thing right here, it's the one that's a single shot, so I gotta cock it every time. And on an AR-15, they don't exactly put the cocking lever in a. You gotta completely unshoulder it in order to cock the goddamn thing. It's fucking retarded. Yeah, I use the word retarded a lot. It's my new favorite word. People like to treat me like I'm retarded, so I tell them they're fucking retarded for doing so. Alright, well, I guess we'll have to set that one down over here. That's not the only one I was messing with. I actually got some pretty cool stuff. This one right here, again, orange tip. Attached it with a rubber band, and it's below the slide action. So, let me see. There's this one little part right here that's hitting the slide. Pull it out. Turn it around the other way, and we'll see how well that works. A little better. I got a glove too. Arts and crafts time, right? Part of what's called a ghillie suit, although mine's more of a leaf suit. Made mostly out of garbage and shit from the yard. But kind of looks like I'm holding a bush. Imagine my whole body looking like that. It's a ghillie suit. The other thing is, on this one, it's easy to remove. I was actually thinking about manufacturing these for airsoft, making a whole bunch of them. Comes right off. Easy to put back on too. Now, when I first got this thing, it was all black, but I did a custom paint job on it. You can't really tell all the details because of the thing over there, but and then I got a little bit of grippy tape. I have to hurry up and wait until there is someone who will act as my guardian. I'm fucked. They're not going to allow me to do so. They're not going to allow me to do so because of the things that they did to me, because people like Brandon Ratner never spoke up. He claims that he did. Really? See, all this stuff takes a lot of time to get fucking started. But Brandon was busy procrastinating, and to this day, he still has not gone in with me to make a report. To this day, he has spoken up nowhere but on my YouTube. When you got a bunch of people that are offering to help, it does kind of feel good. Like for the first time in my life, people were actually, well, they weren't following through though. So does it really matter that they made those empty promises? See, a lot of you say that I turned down help. Is it actual help? A lot of y'all say, well, you refuse to take your medications. I don't have any medications. And look at what happens when you put medications in me. No, you don't want to see me when I'm angry. I'm not nice when I'm green. Those aren't the only two. This one, by the way, I did want to point out the fact that, turn that off, open this up a little. Yeah, that's not helping, is it? But I guess maybe if we do it this way, I think I got it figured out. Brandon sent me a message. I'll probably read it in a minute. That's what it looks like. Yep, Brandon's mad. He's allowed to be. You're allowed to be angry, even if you're wrong. So this one right here, this is the expensive one. And it's got a different type of camo on it altogether. Of course, orange tip. This is the one that came without an orange tip. It should have come with one. I still have the box that it came in, so I'm gonna go search the box and see if it's in there. That way I can change it out. But I made the camo that's on this. Just breaks up the outline a bit. The camo that's on this, it's artificial blind material. There's actually no natural materials in this camouflage, and that camouflage there is mostly natural materials. Um, even the burlap is pretty natural. This stuff right here is a synthetic crap. You can still put your own stuff in there. I mean, I cut it so that it's got holes in it all over the place that you can stuff materials into. Now let's take a look at how Brandon interprets this. I think that's pretty important. Well, it's important to note that the things that I was telling at the very beginning, well, in those conversations between him and I, he verifies that they're true. But does he ever take any action? So let's read what Brandon had to say. He types to me, what makes you think it's fair? Oh, damn, that fair thing again. Who's this dude to talk to me about fair? He's had every advantage in life. And sure, his life ain't easy either. But at least he ain't living mine. Anyway, he types, what makes you think it's fair to jump at me, leaving you hanging for years? He typed, I left the girl I was hanging out with, the other stranded across the country for almost a year. Not to mention, friendship doesn't generally entail that kind of help I give to my friends. I can't pay my bills. I hardly have even had food or cigarettes or anything for months. Now time to threaten me, eh? Not a threat. It's not a threat. The FBI probably won't investigate, even with his number. Chances are pretty good that, well, the only people that are going to call Brandon are the same people that have been harassing me for 4 years. Maybe if they're harassing him, he'll want to fucking do something about it. But that's not the point. See, the reason that I haven't done that is because I want to believe Brandon is a good man. I want to believe that he's going to keep his word. But has he? Has he kept his word to come forward in the last 3 years? No, he hasn't. It's not a threat. It's the desperate shit that I have to do because I can't just wait on him to eventually maybe keep his word. Maybe I should tell him that. At first, I wasn't recording people because I didn't know how. And even after I learned how, the people that I stayed with, I was trying to respect their environment and respect them and not record every goddamn thing. But then it turns out that I really needed to because those people did some fucked up shit. They made a lot of fucking fucked up promises. And they abused the shit out of me. What happened to Tabby is she didn't abuse the shit out of me physically. She made empty promises until I was out of resources. He types, whatever, man. You know, I've fought to be good to you for years. Brandon, I've made hundreds of phone calls by myself. I have been through hell for years. Now, being good to me, how about every time that I call you, I end up being your fucking therapist? I need you to tell the truth. I'm not asking you for anything other than telling the fucking truth. I have to give the FBI your number so that they can call you because you have not taken the initiative to do it yourself in 4 fucking years. Sorry, 3 years. You've fought to be good to me, Brandon? Brandon, you have not written a fucking report. You have no evidence that you have done so. You're not the one paying the consequences for it. You're not the one who has gone from one end of the fucking country over this bullshit being victimized everywhere. The fact is that if you'd have come forward at any point in time with me, instead of me having to take your word for it, I can't take that into court, Brandon. They call me mentally ill. That's why you have to fucking do it. You. I'm not fucking allowed means I'm not fucking allowed, Brandon. I don't want to give everybody your fucking phone number. I don't. And I know the people who are probably going to call you aren't going to be the FBI. It's going to be the same predators that I've been dealing with for the last 4 goddamn years. Now, I have tried to be nice. I have tried to alleviate all of that shit from you having to deal with it. But I can't make a call to the police or the FBI and not record it. You type, bro, you end up being my fucking therapist? ? Dude, every time I call you for help, I'm asking you to fucking come forward. to come forward, Brandon. You know how fucked up it is that every time that I call you, I'm asking you to come forward. And I end up listening to all of your excuses why you fucking can't. You know what? Some of your excuses are valid. Absolutely. Your brother disappearing, that was a fucking valid goddamn reason. The situations with your family, that's a valid goddamn reason. But 3 fucking years, Brandon. 3 fucking years. See, there's a difference between the stuff going on in your life and the stuff going on in mine. You can help with the situation going on in mine. I can't help with the situation going on in your life because I can't even go to Colorado. Now, in the last few months, I have offered you ample money so that you could come here. I have offered you money so you could pay your bills, so you could buy cigarettes. I have sent you money, Brandon. I shouldn't have to do that. You should have come forward 3 goddamn years ago. You said you made the effort. Now prove it. Prove that you made the effort so that I can use that information to stop the fucking abuse that I still have to endure. Maybe I should send him the conversations on YouTube. I kind of get the feeling he hasn't watched them. I know for certain he hasn't watched the ones that aren't on YouTube. They got too much personal information. A lot of those people, their personal information they didn't want the world to know is their excuses why they didn't keep their word. Is there a reason why they're trying to hide that? Is there a reason they're trying to hide the fact that they said that they were going to help me? Now, many of these people, they said they didn't want to be targeted, and many people said that they were targeted. And guess by who? The Bollingers and the fucking cops. Imagine that. Brandon's not a bad dude. He's really not. Miss Peaches is not a bad fucking person. These people just don't understand, don't get it, and when it fucks me over when they don't keep their word and I have wasted my time believing them and wasted my resources believing them, I'm not allowed to be angry, am I? I'm not allowed to be sad or depressed. I'm not allowed to experience or exhibit human emotions or you will punish me. You can have those emotions, but I can't. If people threaten my life, you ignore it and tell me I wanted it, needed it, chose it, or deserved it, or it didn't fucking happen. When you are homeless or disabled, the police are always going to be your predators unless you have someone there in person who gives a shit. But then again, if you had somebody in person who gave a shit, you probably wouldn't be homeless. A lot of people, their fucking parents are assholes. They're fucking tyrants. Most of them, it's their mother that's the fucking issue, and that's because their mother was raised to be a fucking princess. She thinks she's a fucking princess. Sorry. Does sorry fucking fix that situation? No, it fucking doesn't. A lot of these people, it doesn't occur to them that people are fucking dead. Matter of fact, I'm gonna fucking send that to Brandon right fucking now. He typed, come forward, yet I ask again and again who the fuck I'm coming forward to. The police, the FBI, the media. Not complicated. Brandon, I've told you repeatedly who you can talk to about it. That's the issue. See, I can send you a whole bunch of recordings and you can listen to our conversations if it would make you feel better. I don't mind doing that for you. I'm not an unreasonable person. But the other thing is, those conversations show that, well, when you needed help, you got the help that you asked for. The help that I needed was for you to come forward, and the longer it takes you to come forward, the more hell I have to go through. The other thing is, it doesn't matter who you come forward to. If you don't record it, if you don't write it down, you can't even tell me the name of the officers. It'd be nice if you went through your phone records and could prove that you did try, because what the police wrote down in my court paperwork is not the same. So what a lot of people said, who do I come forward to? Look at these hundreds of conversations that I've had with these different agencies. I have no fucking clue. We have to try all of them. All of them. It's a lot of fucking work. It is a lot of fucking work. And it's a lot of hurry up and fucking wait. Who the fuck do I take it to? Who? See, it was Brandon Ratner and people like this procrastinating, making empty fucking promises. That's not my fault. He typed, I asked who to say to, who to call, what to say. You say the truth. But to fucking who am I speaking it to? I fought people on Facebook about you. On Facebook! That's the fucking problem. I don't know how many times I explained to Brandon, I gotta go in and fucking make police reports. Who do you need to speak to? The fucking cops, but you have to fucking record it. I can't take that into court. My public pretenders wouldn't fucking allow it. My public pretenders. He typed, I asked who to say to, who to call, what to say. You say the truth. But to fucking who am I speaking it to? I fought people on Facebook about you. I don't know who the fuck to get a hold of anymore. See, that's the problem, is that at the very beginning, somebody could have gone in with me and I possibly would have been heard instead of having my rights violated. But he never went in with me. Peaches never went in with me. Peaches claimed that she did, but she never did. Now, maybe she went in on her own like she said that she did. But how am I supposed to believe that? Anyway, he types to me, what help did I need, man? You jump on the interwebs for a few minutes. See, that's the thing, is that all I needed him to do was sit down for a few minutes and write a fucking report. Go in with me for a few minutes so I could make one. Just a few minutes. I didn't just jump on the interwebs for a few minutes when his brother disappeared. I made a lot of fucking calls. Unlike me, his brother is schizophrenic. Unlike me, his brother is prone to violence. And just like me, he has to fear for his life from the police and from the system. Brandon's brother is getting fucked right now. He was on some medications that helped him, which is kind of tough to get. But then they took him off of those medications after only 2 weeks, and they put him on another medication. And of course, his brother did not do well on the new medication. Anyway, he typed, "You offered to pay me that money. I felt obligated to get out there because of it. Then you told me it was to pay back what I've done on times past." See, that's the thing, is that he's confusing both. Bobby Forrest, too much goddamn pride. I needed him to come forward, so he makes every excuse why he can't. "Oh, well, my phone's about to get turned off." "Well, I need your fucking help, dude. I will pay your fucking phone bill." He's like, "Oh no, dude, I can't do that." Dude, I need your fucking help. If you don't have a fucking phone, how am I gonna reach you? Although it doesn't matter, he ignores me. He's a fucking selfish SOB too. Claims that he wants to help, but never fucking follows through. That's Bobby Forrest, by the way. That's me and Natalie's mutual friend. Although I've never met him in person. He's one of them people pretended he wanted to help me, but never fucking did anything. Never did anything useful, I should say. As far as paying Brandon back, when I got kicked out of my shop because there was somebody staying out there that shouldn't have been, playing video games with all the lights on till 4 a.m., fucking ghetto blasting that shit, and I got kicked out. And I was in the process of buying a little Chevy S10 from Brandon Ratner and Veronica Randall. I'd already paid him $200, and I was only $100 short of getting myself that truck for my birthday. The day before my birthday, I found out that we got kicked out of the shop. That was lovely. And then I hurt my back moving everything out of the shop. I let Brandon and Veronica keep that $200 for the truck because they helped move everything out of the shop. People seem to forget that I did anything for them, or they try to minimize the efforts that I've made. I've gone above and beyond Call of Duty. I should be allowed to die. I am well within my rights to be pissed off at Brandon. He typed, "If it were that easy for me to help you, fuck, I would have done it." Brandon, it's been 4 fucking years. 4 years. I get that it's not that easy for you to write something down. I get that it's not easy for you to make time when it's a male. And that's not to say that you don't ever make time for a male. But between a male that you have known for years who is being fucking abused and a female that you just met yesterday, you're going to go with that woman that you just met yesterday. And you're going to ask me to understand. You're going to expect me to understand. And we have had that conversation. It is recorded. That's the thing, Brandon. All of this shit is because you didn't come forward when it made a difference. It only would have taken one out of all of you people, it would have only taken one to come forward. You never did the one thing that is the only thing that would help in this situation, and that is to go in with me to make a report. If you make a report and they blow you off, I'm there as a witness. If they do the shit that they have done to me because you weren't there, well, they just get away with it because I don't have a witness. When your brother went missing, I helped you find your brother. It did not take me 3 goddamn years to do so. I did that on Facebook and on YouTube because that was the easiest way to reach people to try to find your brother. Now, the fact is, there are a lot of people who are dead because you didn't come forward, because you procrastinated, because chasing pussy was more important than keeping your word. He's typed to me that I have now lost his patience. Well, with all due respect, I've been patient for 3 goddamn years worth of excuses. 3 goddamn years of excuses. How about keep your fucking word, motherfucker? How about actually listening to me when I fucking call to understand? He doesn't really have anybody to talk to. I can tell. Because when I call him, he's waiting on his opportunity to bitch about his life at me. I can't do shit about the problems in his fucking life. Now, if he'd have fucking come forward and told the fucking truth, would have made a fucking difference. When I was in the La Quinta there in Boulder County, the La Quinta Inn, that's where I tried to commit suicide. Brandon was going to help me, but he wanted to go on a date. So he went on a date. And Allie from Starbucks was going to help me, but she couldn't wait. She couldn't be patient. And Mackenzie, another lady at Starbucks from Boulder, she was a manager at the store there. And she was going to help me, and Soraya was going to help me. And none of them kept their word, and I'm being abused the whole fucking time. Brandon types, think what you want, man. I could talk shit and offend you too. Good luck with whatever help your cause. It was quick and easy way to reach folks. Fuck you, buddy. Brandon, I'm not talking shit. I'm telling the fucking truth. You wanna, just like everybody else, you wanna pretend that when I tell the truth, it's talking shit. Just like Shannon Alvarado. The fact is, Brandon, the things that you were saying are talking shit. You have admitted, and it's on my fucking YouTube. You want to call it talking shit? It's the fucking truth. Sandy Fromm, who likes to threaten my life, wants to bitch about me talking shit. No, she threatened my fucking life, dude. Hello, Brandon. This is a much easier way to communicate. So I guess there's... Oh, yes. I'm sorry you're breaking up, bud. You gotta... Brandon, you're breaking up. I can't hear you.
Every conversation on the phone goes.
Do what?
That's about how every conversation I have on the phone goes.
It's a lot easier for me to talk on the phone than it is for me to text back and forth. It's a bunch of mistranslation, and then people are pissed off. I'm not allowed to be pissed off, but everybody else is.
I don't know about that. I mean, we're all allowed to be pissed off, but the outcomes, not the, may not be what we want.
Dude.
No.
Know what?
I said, no, it's a very interesting thing to consider my life for the last number of years, and consider that, you could be so short in suggesting that I'm chasing you for the last 2 years. Bro, I've been chasing a fucking life. I've been chasing food. I've been chasing the ability to eat.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Me too. But I don't have the resources that you do. My resources were taken away.
Theory.
Do what?
I've been chasing a fucking running circle like that in the fucking cage theory, as far as, the rat in the cage. So the cage is the fucking world that I was born into. Well, what can I do? I can run around this fucking circle repeatedly because that's what I've been born into. You feel me?
Yeah.
If it was different, I would have been there fucking months, years ago. If we weren't born to fucking slave for a goddamn corrupt system that doesn't want to listen to us.
But that's why working together is the only thing that works. All of these things that I had been explaining to everybody for years, if I go in by myself, nothing happens. You got no idea how many predators that still, they're victims. They type to me and tell me about their predators, thinking that I can do something about it. But I go to the cops and I have to go in by myself. I'm a homeless person. I have zero rights. The only thing that could have protected me from those police is people going in person. And I can understand, everybody's got families, everybody's got problems, but it's been 3 years of abuse, Brandon. If somebody would have spoken up from the start, there would have been a lot less death. If somebody would have gone in with me, these officers would not have had the opportunity to harm me the way that they did. If somebody would have gone in with me when I was harmed by those police officers, instead of me being blown off by the clerks in all of these places and them giving me every excuse why I can't turn in a police officer, well, those officers would not have had the opportunity to kill Dmitry Shankling. He'd still be alive. Literally, the officers who assaulted me because I had to go in by myself killed Dmitry Shankling. The departments that I was trying to turn in and trying to get that evidence from before they were allowed to destroy it. It required someone going in with me in person. All of those stories that I told were true. But I didn't have the help that the Bollinger family did. Everybody that I went to for help, they're all too busy with their own lives. But you know what? That's the thing, is that they offered to help. The least they could do is admit that I went to them for help. The least they could do is say, hey, I couldn't help because of my personal fucking problems. I wanted to show up, but I couldn't because I was too fucking broke. Every one of these excuses that people are giving me why they can't. If they can't tell the police these things, can't write them down, can't document them, I can't use it. I can't use it to defend myself. I can't say, and I can show you many examples on my YouTube of this exact situation happening, where I'm trying to show the officers what people are giving me, what they're telling me. And the officers say, well, I don't know if you wrote that. I don't know if somebody else wrote that. Every time, because I have to go in by myself. And I don't know how many times I've explained that to all of you before Natalie was even dead. And everybody's too busy with their personal lives. And I get that. I do. But everybody has more support than I do. Everyone. Like, if you'd have come forward, if you'd have understood the first probably dozen times that I explained to you I needed you to come in with me to fucking make a statement that they're fucking harming me. None of the stuff that you wasted your money on, and it is a waste of money to put temporary bandages on if you're not going to make any efforts to actually remedy the issue eventually. Like, I need help in person. I have to be protected from the cops because I'm disabled. Every disabled person in America does. But you being too busy with your personal problems and with your family life is making it worse for your family. Your brother is going through the same shit that I am, but he is schizophrenic. He is violent. He is prone to those things that they're trying to pretend that I am. But also, your brother is also subject to being victimized in the same way. At least with me, speaking up will do something because I'm not schizophrenic. And this is all of their fucking bullshit. All of their excuses for not listening to me is that they want to pretend I'm schizophrenic so that they don't get in trouble. The thing is that fighting my case will make it better for a lot of people, not just me. It'll make it better for you and for your brother. And no, it won't fix every goddamn problem. That's for sure. But at the same time, if nobody does anything at all to fucking speak up, not on Facebook, and everybody that I know, I explain to them, don't argue on fucking Facebook. Write it down. Those people who are trolling on Facebook, write that down too. That is evidence of the fucking harassment I got to deal with. But then everybody wants to tell me, oh, well, I just don't want to deal with the hassle. I don't want to deal with the drama. It's great that it's just drama for other people. When it's fucking my wrist that's almost broke, when it's my face that's getting punched, I'm fucking glad that it's drama to everybody else. Everybody's got problems. That's what everybody tells me when it's time to keep their word. Everybody's got problems. Everybody's got problems. Everybody's got problems. You know, when I went to JoJo and Derek for help, do what?
That's not what I've said he wants. And everybody's got problems.
No, you've said it. I recorded it. I go back and listen to that stuff sometimes. Most of the time it hurts, but I miss you guys in person and I can't see you and I can't hear your voices and I'm not even worth talking to. I wasn't worth going in person. People always want to fucking put on a temporary goddamn band-aid when it's too late. Like, you know, you got diabetes. You got to get special shoes or your feet are going to get rotten and then they're going to have to amputate. But you can't get the shoes. You can't hardly walk. So you've got to fucking try to get a job, but you can't walk. And everybody says, oh, well, you should just get a job. There's plenty of jobs out there that for people like you. No, the fuck there isn't. And with all the shit that I had to jump through, when was I going to find the time to get a job? How was I going to get the money to even run around and fucking pick up applications when all of my money was spent going to the courts to pay them for victimizing me because people couldn't find the fucking time? When you say, who do you go to? You don't go to anybody, Brandon. You come to me. We have to go in person. We both have to do it. And we have to record it. It has to be recorded so that there is proof that this happened. If nobody does that, then it's their word versus mine. It's fucked up enough that they're doing this to your brother who is schizophrenic. It's even more fucked up when they do it to somebody who isn't. You're not the only person who is too busy to tell the truth. You're not the only person who is too busy to write this down. But at least most of you guys have somewhat of a social life. You know, that party that you went to, imagine dealing with that every day, except people are throwing stuff out the window at you. You can't go to your family's house. You don't have fucking a place to work on your fucking vehicles. I want you to try putting yourself in my shoes, Brandon. I mean, all of you guys who said that you cared, but the most important part was fucking speaking up and going in person with me. You see what happened when you did it by yourself? That's the part that everybody fucking forgets. With me. With me. You know, with you not remembering the name of the cops, I would have written it down. I went to hundreds of cops. And when they ask me which cop, well, I have to try to remember hundreds of names just of officers that I've dealt with, that I've had to deal with solo. That's just in officers. Like after a couple of weeks, you know, it's if you can't do it immediately, that's understandable. If you can't do it after a couple of weeks, that's kind of understandable. If you can't do it after 7 months, which is how long it took from when Natalie died to when I had to break the law because none of you guys could keep your word. And when I got out of jail, I started recording all of you. Because those words that you were telling me, you should have been telling the police. You should have been writing down. You should have been documenting. And I told you those things so many times. And I get tired of explaining to everybody, so I make a video about it. And then I'm a bad person for making a video. And people are like, I don't want everybody to know my personal business. Well, guess what? At least it's the truth. All of these places that I have gone to, and all of the places that you have gone to, are the right places to go to, Brandon. But you have to do it with me. That's the in-person thing. That's why I spent all that money after Natalie died fucking trying to get help from you and trying to get help from Neil and trying to get help from all these other people who said that they cared and said that they wanted to help and said that they were gonna. And then when it come down to it, there's a bunch of stuff that wasn't my fault. Like when you didn't show up at court because you had to work. Sure, you may have wanted to help, but you had to work. But that's not what the fucking cops wrote down. That's not what the judges saw. And afterwards, I'm like, hey, could you at least fucking admit that? Like it's not that complicated. For 7 months, I tried to get you to go in with me in person, Brandon. 7 months before I had to do that desperate shit. And you weren't the only one. And I'm not allowed to be frustrated with you, but you're not the only one, Brandon. That's the point. It's not just you. Every one of the people who said that they would write a report and that they would help, to this day, they haven't. To this day, I have to believe that they went in to talk to the cops. And although the things that I said that would happen if they went in and talked to the cops by themselves happened, well, that doesn't make any difference because they're not going to speak up about it. I can understand if you're busy for fucking a couple of weeks. I can understand after a couple of months because I have to have your help, Brandon. I can't do it myself. I have to wait on you. After 3 years of waiting on you, Brandon, I mean, what the fuck? I don't hate you. I hate my life because I needed help. And everybody is too busy blowing smoke up my ass. Don't offer to help if you're not going to. And that's the problem, is that I believed you guys, all of you guys, and I jumped through all of these hoops that I needed to jump through, believing that one of you would eventually fucking keep your goddamn word. Is it my fault I don't have a family, Brandon? It doesn't even occur to any one of these people that I asked for help how much hell I have to go through. And when I call them up and I try to explain it to them, I end up, yes, playing therapist. I end up listening to everybody's reasons why they can't take 30 minutes out of their goddamn time to write something down. People say, man, I spent all this time. And I'm like, yeah, you spent all that time doing shit that was fucking wasteful.
Yeah, but, you know, you can go ahead and, dismiss everybody's freaking efforts as waste. To some degree, I can dismiss your efforts as waste. You know what I mean? That's not going to be freaking helpful for either of us.
Well, that's the thing, dude, is that what's helpful is for somebody to actually keep their word to show up. What's helpful is that when they don't, they explain why instead of fucking letting these people sell this narrative. Do what?
I said, how many people would have driven their straight sleeping to come pick you up and then come drive you all the way back? You know what I mean?
And see, I am grateful for that. I have sung your praises about that. But that was
absolutely necessary. Which, hey, I guess I see why that was absolutely necessary. But what could I have done at 20 hours might have helped you?
That's the thing, is that you're using things that you did fucking years later. And that's the thing, is that when this was all going on, it was essential for you to keep your word then. All of these places, like, who do you talk to? You don't talk to anybody without someone in person with you, Brandon. All of these people who claimed that they went in, none of them wrote it down, and all of them went in person. And none of their words were allowed in court, even though they were true. But my predators, their slander was allowed in court. Why? Because none of you showed up. None of you could get through your heads how important it was. And everybody says it's not fucking fair. It's not fucking fair. Of course it's not fair. That's the point. It's not fair. It's not fair that it is okay to victimize me because I don't have a family. It's not fair that people can continually victimizing me because they're pissed off that I told the truth about them. If you can't do the things that you said that you were going to do because of your family issues, I would much rather have that in court than have it posted all over fucking YouTube. I for surely would. But I don't have other options without people like you in person helping. Now, in person in Wyoming, that's fucking over 2 years after the fact. That is over 2 years after you should have spoken up. That was over 2 years after you gave your first promises to come forward. And you had been involved in the situation since before I even left for Virginia, Brandon. You're an actual witness to the situation. Not some wingnut who was trying to manipulate the situation afterwards. I had to go to these people for help because your promises were empty, Brandon. Whether it was intentional or not, they were empty. And everybody who gives me those promises, when they don't keep their word and I am fucking harmed and I speak up about it, then all of a sudden they got families and their family is the reason they couldn't. Like, all right, fine. Fine, you got family. You can't tell the truth because you got family. You can't go in with me because you got family. You can't make the time because you got work. Well, that is all stuff that should have gone to the courts instead of the slander that was allowed in my fucking court dates because you never came forward. And you might have come forward to those officers, but the fact is, without the name of the officer, without knowing what it is that you sent them, and without you verifying it, it doesn't make any difference because I'm called mentally ill. The only thing that would help is going in with me in person. And I said that before Natalie fucking died. It's not my fault that people don't understand the English language, or that they're so busy with their own shit that they probably shouldn't be offering to help. Like the fact that I went to you for help. Just admitting that I went to you for help in court shows that those fucking cops lied. They said I wasn't trying to get help. Now, all of your reasons for not being able to help the way that you said you would, those are all valid fucking reasons. But those aren't what the cops said in court, and you weren't there to do anything about it. You said that you would show up, and then you didn't. And I have to understand, and I do understand, Brandon, just like I have to understand with Fitz Peaches when she says, hey, I had to work. And sometimes when she was working as the mall security guard. Sometimes when she said she had to work, she had to go sell some drugs because she wasn't making enough as a security guard to support her family. And I feel bad about all of this shit. Every time you guys bring that up, I thought about all of those things all along. And every time you bring that up, that's stuff that I feel like shit about. But I feel even more like shit about the fact that none of you can comprehend or understand that in person is the only way to do it. It has to be documented. Someone has to go in with me. When you are called mentally ill, anyone can make your word against theirs, and they automatically win. It's just like when you're homeless. The only protection that we have from that is people like you who are witness to it actually coming in person and speaking up in person. But you know what? Because you didn't. The FBI did fucked up shit. The police that I went to before Natalie died did fucked up shit. The Bollingers did fucked up shit. And they got away with all of it. And I get that you got problems. I get that everybody's got fucking problems. But everybody's got help but me. Coming to that situation in Wyoming, I'm glad for that. And you know what? It sucks that we were both fucking sleep deprived. That does suck. But that situation could have been headed off by you keeping your word, or any one of these other people keeping their word. I'm not frustrated just because of you. I am frustrated because every single person who claimed that they were going to help did exactly the same thing, Brandon. They claimed that they were going to help, claimed that they love me, claimed that they care. And then they can't. But they can't fucking speak up in court either. They can't tell the courts or the cops, hey, Sean is trying to get fucking help, but right now, my fucking life is falling apart. He is telling the truth. He is an honest man, and he needs actual help. But no, because you guys procrastinated for so long, thinking it would just fucking blow over. Or thinking that telling me that you were trying to help, or telling me that you called somebody, was somehow useful. No, it's fucking not. Prove it, Brandon. Prove it. How long do you think it would take you to go through your phone records to find those calls to the police? And I have to go through thousands of those situations, Brandon. I have literally called law enforcement thousands of times. It wasn't the predators and their bullshit that made me suicidal, Brandon. It was having to believe you. And having to believe Peaches and having to believe all these people who had all sorts of pretty fucking words to say. But when they didn't keep their word, it affected me greatly, and I was harmed greatly. And they say it's not my fault. No, it is your fault. You didn't keep your word, Brandon. You knew that what they were doing to me was wrong. You knew that it was over lies. It's been 3 years, Brandon. 3 years since Natalie died. A lot of the people that offered to help, they tell me they didn't have any money. So I tried sending them money so that they could come see me. That money that I sent you was not to come see me. That money that I sent you is because you spent money to come up there to fucking Wyoming to fucking help me. And although it didn't do much good, at least I made it to fucking court. And I've offered since then to send you more money so you can come up here. I need your help, Brandon. I'm not spending this money just to fucking spend it. Does it occur to you that every single day I can't see you? And it's not just you. I can't see any of my loved ones because none of you spoke up. None of you went in with me to talk to the police when it made a fucking difference. You want to tell me about how you did something fucking almost 2 years later? 2 years later, Brandon, in a situation that I wouldn't have even fucking ended up with or in if you had fucking kept your word. I'm not blaming you for my mistakes, Brandon. I'm not blaming you for anything that I did.
But you're blaming me for not keeping a promise that I never promised. I never promised I will go in person with you. I never promised that. No, I mean, I'm a man of my word. When I fucking word, and you can say that you ordered it. I'd love to see fucking influence. You recorded something I said I was going that I didn't do.
So you never said that you was gonna try to go into court with me. You never told me that you weren't able to because, and you didn't tell me that you weren't able to because you had to go to work. That's right. You absolutely did say that.
Yeah, but that's still what, a year or more after. You're even referencing it now.
Dude, I tried to get your help well before Natalie was ever fucking killed. And no, I can't prove that. I didn't know how to record at the time. I didn't even know how to take screenshots at the time, Brandon. I sure would have liked to. Just like when I was in Virginia, I would have liked to record the conversations between you and I when I was trying to get the hell out of there. I would have loved to record the conversation between Candace Bondurant and I when she was being a complete and total fucking cunt because I did free artwork and didn't get paid, and she wanted to be an asshole to me because the guy who didn't pay me is a friend of hers. Like, it's everybody else's personal fucking drama. And it's drama. That shit with your brother, that's not drama. That's a real life fucking situation. When you said that you would go to court with me when we were in Colorado, that was what, maybe 2 months after Natalie disappeared. And you said that you couldn't because you had to go to work and that you were sorry. Now, that right there, number one, that proves that I was trying to get help. The fact that you weren't able to come in is not my fault. But according to the courts, they wanted to blame it all on me, and you just let them. If you know that a narrative being sold is not the truth and innocent people are being harmed, you know, people did try to help me out, and I admitted it. I admitted everything that you ever did good for me, Brandon, on Facebook and on YouTube. It's all up there. Everything that you ever did, but the fact that you didn't come forward about those things. I shouldn't have had to do it on Facebook. The only reason it's still on Facebook and still on YouTube is because I can't get anybody to come in person and do something. When you went to me in Wyoming, that was almost 2 years after Natalie's death. That's well after you said you were going to go in with me. And you've said you'll try to make the time and try to make the time, but that's not what the police wrote down, Brandon. That's not what the police wrote down. And they got away with what they wrote down because you and all the people like you who knew how important this was.
I don't believe anybody on planet Earth is like me.
Well, I don't believe anybody on planet Earth is like me, but we're all human. When I say like you, I'm referring to the people who said that they were going to help. If you're not able to help, and you tell me you're not able to help, that's fine. Tell the cops. Tell my fucking public pretender. There's a lot of stuff that I had to deal with that is not my fault. Like the fact that I couldn't get a hold of you while I was in the jail. But I shouldn't have had to break the law to begin with. I went to every one of you for help. I had to break the law because of one thing and one thing only. Nobody would go in with me in person. The cops said, probably because of the way that I act. No, the way that I was acting is because I was being abused and being fucking blown off. Brandon, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth times, yeah, I can almost understand them. But you know what? It eventually got to the point where I just seriously feel like I've been blown off for 3 years. I try to fucking pay people back. I didn't need your money, I needed your words. But when you didn't use your words, yes, I needed money to fucking survive. My resources were taken away from me for crimes that I didn't commit over a fucked up narrative that you knew was untrue. I didn't need you to argue with people on Facebook. I needed you to go in and talk to the cops. And look at what happened when you went in by yourself. I mean, you didn't document it. You don't have any witnesses to it. And you're not mad at me. You know, I'm supposed to just trust that you did that. And I want to trust that you did that, but you have no proof of it. Meanwhile, I have proof that I was trying to go in. I have the proof. I saved the proof. I didn't just ask you guys to do things that I was unwilling to do. The problem is nobody's going to look at my proof unless someone like you steps up in person. And all of your reasons, like the stuff with your family, that is important. If you wanted to help and couldn't, that is a lot fucking different than the narrative that the fucking cops sold and got away with. All of you knew that the stories that I was telling were true. All of you know that I've been victimized because you didn't come forward in person. All of you, every one of you knows this. And then you want to get angry at me when I say something about it. No, Brandon, that's not okay. When you guys came up to Buffalo, Wyoming to fucking rescue me from that shitty ass situation, I was grateful, wasn't I? And I paid you back, didn't I? I gave you every single penny that I got out of selling my Corsica. Because it cost you every penny of that to come up and get me. It cost you 14 hours of your lives to drive up to Buffalo, Wyoming and fucking rescue me. Of course I'm fucking grateful for that shit. And you're goddamn right. I still speak about that to this day, despite the fact that you and Veronica both did really fucked up shit. I am still grateful for the shit that you did. I am still grateful for those things.
What the fuck did I do? It was really fun.
That's the thing, Brandon, is that I've explained to you what you did. You just let them hurt me. over lies that you knew were lies, and you just let them. You know, I can understand when you can't help somebody immediately. I can understand that. When people need my help, I don't procrastinate for 3 years. You know how much shit I would feel like if your brother had ended up dead because I wasn't trying to help find him?
He was still found walking on the side of a highway by police. There was no single individual that anybody reached out to, you or I or anybody found him. It was literally him walking along the side of the front highway along 225 in Aurora, about to get fucking hit.
Yep.
He stopped.
Now, I wasn't the one that found your brother, but I at least tried. I at least tried to get the word out so he wouldn't get run over by a fucking car. And not necessarily over by a car. I mean, your brother is kind of out there sometimes. You know, he could possibly just say the wrong thing to somebody because he thinks it's funny or whatever and end up getting beaten to death. Your brother needs to be protected because of the same reason as me. The term mentally ill. Anybody can victimize your brother and get away with it. For your brother, that's a lot tougher fight because it's all uphill because he is schizophrenic. For me, my fight is because while I was trying to defend myself against these predators were able to use their positions to try to paint me as fucking crazy. And I told you that they would, and I told you this from experience, and you have experience with it with your brother. So it's not like you're clueless. It's not like you didn't know. When I tell you about how I got to deal with that treatment and I don't have the protections of having a family, that's not to make you feel like shit for trying to look out for your family. That's me explaining to you that I get treated like your brother and I'm not your brother. Their solution for me is to shove drugs into me and separate me from all my loved ones. Imagine if you tried to make a fucking telephone call and you got arrested for it. Imagine you tried to go to the police over your abuse and you got arrested for it. Imagine there's lots of people who know, but they're all too fucking busy to do anything. Now imagine people that you love are fucking dead over it, Brandon. Your brother is fine and fucking dandy. I got over a dozen people that I know and love that are dead over this shit. And I've got hundreds more people that I know and love that I can't go see because of this shit. And I'm not allowed to get angry. I want to believe that you're going to eventually, maybe, possibly, fucking help how I need, which is to write it down. But after 3 years of not writing it down, I mean, shit, if you got to go through and find stuff that you might have written down on Facebook, because you said that you were posting about it on Facebook, well, go back and find those things. Pull them up, take screenshots of them, and send that shit in. I mean, the least you could do is admit that I was trying to get help. The least you could do is admit that you wanted to help and were unable to. People seem to get the idea that because I'm not schizophrenic, that I'll be able to fucking defend myself. It doesn't work that way when they're trying to paint you that way to alleviate their own sins, Brandon. When I make phone calls, because I've been called mentally ill, when I make phone calls, someone has to make those phone calls with me. When I go in to talk to the police, someone has to go in with me. When I go to talk to the Department of Health and Human Services, someone has to go in with me. Otherwise, they don't do their jobs. People keep telling me about all these places that I need to call, and I've called them all. They all do the same thing, and they continue to do the same thing until someone comes in person. Now there's a situation of the police and the courts have already done what it is that I told you they would do if you procrastinated and didn't come forward. And you don't see it as procrastinating, but at the same time, you're not going through 4 years of abuse because nobody wanted to come forward. Do you think at that party of Chris's, do you think I would have just stood there and said nothing while that woman was fucking harassing you? Over shit that you didn't fucking do? Do you think I'd have just stood there and watched? Do you think I would have just walked out the back door and fucking left you to it?
Don't know. I suppose I've never seen you in that situation. Do I think so? No.
Brandon, you've seen me in enough situations to know I save lives. And that's a lot more than most of these nuts that are harming me do. Do what?
You said there's some nigga situation. Everything that anybody does is situational, no?
That's true. But the thing is that the reasons that all of you guys had for not coming forward and not keeping your words, I mean, they're all justifiable. But it doesn't matter if you don't come forward in court and say it. If you say, hey, I wasn't able to come forward because I was too fucking broke. I wanted to, but I was too fucking broke. Then again, if you don't say that, then they get to put their own narrative in there, Brandon. Like the narrative that I wasn't trying to get help. They tried to pretend that I was a fucking drug dealer. And a fucking junkie, Brandon.
Gotta ask, when exactly was that narrative even created?
That was created after I left Virginia. That was started by Natalie and her sister and Maddie Boa. Just like people pretending that I'm a fucking rapist or a child molester. That didn't come from Natalie and Alicia. That came from the very first lie they told, claiming that I stalked them. And then them playing victim resulted in a lot of people hurting me. Brandon, just the information that you know to be true is enough for me to get a new court date in every single one of these court dates where I was railroaded. Just the information from Peaches, same thing. Same thing with Alyssa Rainwater, Vandy Hughes. Same thing with Candace Bondurant. I don't want to have to call the police and record it on YouTube. But that's what I have to do until other people come forward. I don't want to have to give out people's phone numbers on a call with the FBI. It makes me feel bad. But at the same time, I can't just record it and hold on to it. Because if I don't post it up, then it can be destroyed and nobody ever sees it. I was good to all of you guys, Brandon. when I was trying to buy that pickup from you, and I let you keep $200 from it. It's because you guys helped me move out of there. Despite the fact that Josh was a fucking doucher. I didn't blame you guys for me getting kicked out. It wasn't your fault. And you earned that 200 fucking bucks. Just like you earned that 200 bucks when you helped me move all my shit out of Ken and Leah's and up to Tabby's. You earned that. But also, you did get paid. It's not like I expected you to do something for free. A lot of people, after I spent a lot of my resources on that help, and they don't show up and don't keep their word. Like when you showed up to help me move my stuff, you legit showed up. You didn't fucking cheapskate me.
Three times now. No.
Yep.
At least.
Like I said, I'm not the only one who needs help. You know, when I rescued people before I hurt my back, like I rescued hundreds of people from fucked up abusive situations. I moved people same as you do. I help people get out of abusive relationships. And also women do the same shit to me they do to you. They pretend they're interested until you've spent your resources, and then they just don't give a shit. They already got what they wanted out of you. When she goes back to that asshole that you rescued her from, chances are pretty good she's going to blame you. Look at the situation you're dealing with Veronica. Veronica wasn't fucking killed. Veronica's situation wasn't all over the news. I never once, not even once, did I ever see you do anything mean to Veronica. Ever. So if people were gonna fucking be shitty to you about Veronica in front of me, yeah, I'm gonna fucking say something, dude.
Yeah. Hey, you know, this is there fucking idly lied and said a fucking word.
Do what?
I said, you know, Chris.
Yep.
He fucking sat there and didn't say a fucking word. He invited me there. I said, you know what I mean? There's nothing there. He said, nobody's gonna, you know what I mean? Nobody here is cool.
And see, that's how I feel, Brandon. I know exactly how you feel in that situation. I was hoping one of you guys would say a fucking word. A lot of people, they got the impression that arguing on Facebook was the same as coming forward. It's not. A lot of these people, they invited me to their places and offered to help, and then they didn't lift a finger and didn't say a word. I get that, dude. You know how me and Derek and Janine became friends?
No.
They were trying to freeze to death without a blanket at the bottom of the parking garage, the one right behind Starbucks. So I brought them a blanket. Of course, Derek, he assaulted me before Natalie was killed, but after I left Virginia, because I went over there to get some help from him. And he was busy arguing with JoJo. And he couldn't just continue to take it out on her, so he fucking directed it at me. That situation with Chris is only at the tip of the iceberg, you know? I mean, you weren't assaulted. You weren't dragged off to jail. You weren't separated from your loved ones and prevented from seeing them again. And that's not me saying that any of that is okay. It's not okay. And it also isn't okay when I have to go through it. It doesn't feel any better for me after all this time than it did for you when Chris just sat there. You didn't deserve that, but you took it anyway, didn't you? And you did the adult thing by leaving, didn't you?
Yeah, but at the same time, how easy it is for somebody in the same room with you, people that they know on both sides of something and say a fucking word is much different than, you know what I mean? Going to the police and here, going there, you know what I mean? Literally, all he had to do was his mouth and speak. Was that fucking easy?
Well, that's the same thing with you guys. All you had to do was open your mouth and speak. But
who?
Well, that's the thing. To all of the people that I already talked to. See, it's not that you're talking to the wrong people. It's not that you're talking to the wrong people, Brandon. I'm not talking to the wrong people either. It's the fact that we're not going in together to do it. They can blow us off, and that is usually what they do when you go in by yourself.
We're talking hundreds of people.
Do what?
We're talking hundreds of people, no?
Hundreds of people to call now? Yeah, that's because the situation is so out of hand. And hundreds of witnesses? Yeah, there are hundreds of witnesses too.
So I guess what I'm getting at is literally, if it was two people that I had known and been saying that, I would have spoken the fuck up before anything even happened, before she even stood up. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, I'm somebody that you know, and you were involved in the situation, and I did go to you for help. When I was in Virginia, you helped me get out of there. That wasn't a fucking lie. That was a true fucking story. You didn't know everything about the situation, but you knew enough about the situation to know that I'd gone to you for help. You knew enough about the situation to know that I was telling the truth. A lot of people, when they helped me, and I got to do that in fucking quotational bunny ears, because a lot of people that helped me, they want to say, oh, well, I helped you. I did this and I did that and I did this and I did that. And they try to make it sound like they did it just out of the high kindness of their own heart and that they somehow got ripped off or fucking cheapskated for it. Like, no, I paid people for the help and services. I paid for it. I paid cash money. When I went there to Candace or to Tabby's, I paid cash money. When you helped me move, I paid you cash money. Did I not?
You did.
And do I not make an effort?
To some degree, it's that even paid for my gas at the time, but that's not recommended.
Well, I'm glad I was able to send you something back, you know?
Well, that's the point.
Like this whole 3 years, I could have been helping a lot of people who treat me like shit because I can't help them in their situations. And it hurts me to hear their situations. Like every time you tell me about your brother, like that hurts me to the core, bud. That hurts me all the way to the very center. Like just hearing what your brother has to go through and hearing what you have to go through with him. With my personal experience, yeah, I go right back to that fucking dark and dirty goddamn place myself, Brandon. Your brother's fight is a lot tougher than mine because he is schizophrenic. You've known me for long enough that you know that I'm not schizophrenic, and your word does mean a lot more than a doctor who spent less than 5 minutes with me, who was tainted by officers who I was trying to turn in. Literally, the officers I was trying to turn in got to take me to the nuthatch. That's what happens when you have to go to the police by yourself and you're called mentally ill. The cops tried to pretend I wasn't trying to get help. They preyed on that mentally ill term, and they're still playing it to this day. Until somebody shows up in person to actually help in person, none of it makes any difference. I mean, I've spent thousands of dollars in the last 4 years to try to get help in person. Thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars worth of having to move places. And people say, well, do you ever think about moving somewhere else? Like, holy fuck, I can't see my loved ones even. You know? Plus, I got this goddamn restricted number motherfucker who fucking. It's a whole group of people, and it's between the two situations this all started over. Jamie Curtis and Natalie Bollinger.
Can't even say that I know who Jamie Curtis is.
Yeah, you don't. She's the girl that broke me of falling in love. It says restricted too. I've got multiple restricted numbers calling me at the same time. Right now as we speak, Brandon. And you know, that's easy enough to ignore. That's a lot easier to ignore than Sandy Fromm running around town trying to hire somebody to fucking kill you. Or Chris Kurth fucking stalking you to the next town over. There are hundreds of crimes that have been committed against me over this, Brandon, and like dominoes, they just keep knocking me down and using the term mentally ill to get away with it. It's not that my stories weren't true, it's that none of you guys understood that they're not going to listen to me. I went to you guys for help before Natalie was dead because there was a major fucking issue. And although most of y'all talked over me the whole time, you helped me out with the physical shit I needed. When Derek and JoJo, before Natalie died, they gave me a ride up to my place. They were going to try to help me move my shit from there down to fucking Ken and Leah's. And who ended up helping me do that?
That's obvious.
That was you that helped me move. But the whole time there, like, the reason that I really, really needed their help is because of the situation with fucking Natalie and Alicia. And I tried to explain it to them then. That was well before Natalie fucking got killed. And the whole time, fucking JoJo wants to talk, and then Derek wants to talk, and then JoJo wants to talk, and then Derek wants to talk. Like, fuck. Nobody listened to a goddamn thing I had to say. They were too busy talking. I don't think that calling the FBI and giving them your number is going to get them to call you and do their fucking job. And I think it sucks that that's about the only fucking option that I have left. Is to hope that maybe they do call you. But the other thing is I have to do it on YouTube. I have to record it so people say it didn't happen. Yes, I just hung up on him. I don't know what's going on. It's probably a connection issue. Maybe he's sitting next to a 57 side. Who knows? It wasn't that I wasn't trying to get help. Just listen to the fucking excuses that you make. The excuses that you make to look away. Brandon said that he would go in with me to talk to the police on more than one occasion. He also said that he'd go to court with me on 3 different occasions. Two of those occasions, he said that it was pending work. And of course, he did have to go to work, but that didn't matter to the courts. They're not going to hear me say that. They don't want to hear that I went to people for help. They want their goddamn 2 cents to run together. On the bright side, I have fake grass and burlap and a bright orange tip on a cheesy ass BB rifle. That's something at least. This is an art piece. Why do I call it that? Well, first of all, because I have a better one. I don't have to cock back every time I fire it. On this one, I gotta cock that back every single time. Oh, safety. Oh shit, it's loaded. Yes, I knew that it was. Just trying to make a point. Had that been a real firearm, that BB right there, because it was loaded, that BB would have gone right through the wall and possibly into my neighbor's house. Possibly into my neighbor even. Matter of fact, there's a little hole here and I'm sitting where I'm sitting here. Let's see. Oh, good. I would have gotten lucky. That would have gone into the city building next door. There's nobody there ever, and it's a cement casing wall. So it's not only made out of cinder blocks, it's filled with cement. That's just an art piece. It's not going to get used. It's just going to look like that. This one right here is a little more functional. That one right there is mostly shit that came out of the yard. This right here is stuff that I spent a good portion of last night going through and cutting up and fitting. The sling here obviously does not go to a rifle. I believe it actually goes to a computer bag. Also, another thing is, on these rails here, you can actually, if you get a rubber band that's long enough, as long as you can make it go around the bottom here and around the top right there, it'll fit in these grooves along the side. And that way you can actually slide organic material in there as you go through your paces. I'll show you what I mean. I won't use a piece of grass, though. I'll use this pen because it'll be easier to see. Boom. And now we've got big pen camouflage. See how well it folds up? Doesn't fold up too bad. It actually closes, so I'm happy with it. Also, it does still fire. I tested it out a little bit. It doesn't get any of this stuff stuck in the action, and I made sure that anywhere where it might, I made sure that I didn't put a whole lot there. Y'all are so lucky. No joke. Oh, restricted number again. The cops aren't going to investigate any of the crimes against me, and why would they? They did wrong shit. There's restricted assholes some more. Of course, I must be schizophrenic for seeing that, aren't I? I must be schizophrenic because I think that somebody called me from a restricted number. Obviously, I must be mentally ill, and therefore that restricted number has not been harassing me for the last couple of weeks. I must be hallucinating it. I must be hallucinating those phone calls. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them since I talked to Brandon. 4 times since I talked to Brandon. God bless America, though, right? Brandon says he won't have service for 10 minutes, then he's going to call me back. But this thing weighs almost a pound now, so at least I got my arts and crafts project. Pretty stressed out. I would go try to find somebody who's got some pot to smoke, because I'm seriously that stressed out. I don't even like getting stoned. Just like with them pills. I don't like the way that it feels. At least with marijuana, it doesn't make me sick on top of it. Sure, it affects my ability to think. Well, to think quickly. But it doesn't take away my ability to reason. And it doesn't make me sick. There's restricted number again. I must be schizophrenic for believing that these are restricted numbers, right? I want you to ask yourself something. Is that a figment of my imagination? Am I hallucinating that? You know why I stay in my 5x5 box? Because if I leave my box, I have to deal with these assholes. They can do whatever they want to me, and I can't go to the police. Because nobody to go in with me. Hey, that's pretty cool. That reminds me of the 1980s. I'm not sure how many of y'all remember the 1980s, but everything was fucking hot pink, hot green, fucking neon orange. Why'd I get this stuff? Well, safety first, motherfuckers. Actually, I'm more interested in saving lives than taking them. Not sure if you can understand that. You probably don't. Oh, that's restricted number again. The solution to the problem is to ignore it and to have me do things that make my situation worse. Hello, cunt rag. Oh, they hung up. Poor them. Poor figments of my imagination just hung up on me. Ooh, package scheduled for delivery tomorrow. Yeah, there should be two of them. Oh, it says there are two of them. Very nice. Let's see what they are. Oh, it didn't say what they are. Well, I'm fairly certain that it's going to be two Panther Arms AR-15s that fire 6mm BBs. 6mm BBs. 6mm BBs. 6mm BBs. When it's all said and done, I should have about, I think when all of the shipments come in, including the ones I got on my wall, I should have about 15 AR-15 variants. No, 10 AR-15 variants. The reason for that is because two of those are Nerf. They shoot Nerf darts. And one of them fires actual metal BBs. See if I can find that container. And that's the one actually the one that has the synthetic ghillie on it. That one fires actual BBs. That one is not going to be used for airsoft for obvious fucking reasons. I don't know how many of y'all were alive in the 80s, but a common occurrence in the 80s for us kids to have to dig BBs out. Most of the time it'd welt you, if you had clothes on especially. But sometimes one of the neighbor kids get one of them high power pump actions. Shit, you'd be pulling cloth out of your friggin' arm while you're pulling out the BB. You gotta take part of your shirt in with it. Airsoft though, that's kind of acceptable. Because you can get stuff like this that helps to protect you from the impact. The disabled just don't matter to you. Unless your dad rapes you, then you want someone to go take it out on. You pick either a disabled person or a homeless person. Brandon did give his word to go in and to write it down. Make a report. Well, there's my hallucination again. Yep, I must be hallucinating that shit. Isn't that right? If you're not willing to fight for the rights of others, you don't deserve yours. If you're not going to fight for the rights of men, then you as a woman don't deserve rights. I'm fighting for your rights and I'm fighting for my own. If you, as a black person, are not going to fight for the rights of victims who aren't black, you have no right to complain. You have no place to complain. Nobody owes you nothing. If I steal from you, then I owe you. If my grandfather stole from your grandfather, that's between the two of them, asshole. My dad don't like black folks. My mom don't like Mexicans. I don't like my mom and dad. Happy fucking Christmas, assholes. Be safe.